Somewhere in your home right now, 2 or 3 separate apps are quietly failing to talk to each other. These 10 upgrades finally fix that, and the transformation only gets more satisfying the deeper it goes.
Most smart homes start the same way. One plug, one light, one small experiment that either works effortlessly or turns into an evening lost to conflicting apps and hubs that don't speak to each other. The Eve Energy Smart Plug was built to be the version that actually works. It connects natively over Thread, meaning no separate hub, no proprietary bridge, no waiting for a manufacturer to decide if your ecosystem is supported this year. Plug it in and it's immediately visible to Apple Home, Google Home, Alexa, and Home Assistant, all at once, without picking a side. It also tracks real-time energy use for whatever's plugged into it, turning an outlet into a small window into how a home actually consumes power. It's a small object solving a problem most people don't even realize they've been having: the quiet friction of a smart home built from a dozen not quite compatible parts. At $39, it's the easiest, lowest-risk way to feel what a home built on a shared standard actually feels like. Once one device speaks the same language as everything else, the next question becomes how much of the home can join it.
Most smart switches ask for a compromise most people don't realize they're making: a neutral wire that older homes simply don't have, ruling out a real upgrade before it even starts. The Inovelli Smart Dimmer removes that requirement entirely, built specifically to install in homes without one, while still delivering full Matter-certified dimming, scene control, and a signature LED bar that shows status at a glance without opening an app. It replaces an ordinary wall switch in minutes, not hours, and immediately becomes part of the same connected system as everything else in the home, instead of an isolated accessory. For anyone who assumed their home's wiring made a smart switch impossible, this is the one that proves otherwise, at $65. With the walls themselves finally participating, the next layer is actually seeing what's happening inside them. Most security cameras exist in their own closed world: a separate app, a separate subscription, a separate notification system that never quite lines up with the rest of the home. The TP-Link Tapo C260 is one of the first cameras built from the ground up on the same Matter standard as everything else on this list, meaning what it sees can now trigger the same automations as a lock, a light, or a sensor without a workaround. It delivers sharp night vision, real-time motion alerts, and local storage without forcing a subscription to unlock basic functionality. It's not just a camera watching a room anymore. It's a sensor contributing to the same coordinated system as everything else at $59. Once the home can see what's happening inside it, the next step is extending that same intelligence outward.
The garage is one of the last places smart home upgrades tend to reach, mostly because retrofitting one has usually meant replacing the entire opener system. The THIRDREALITY Smart Garage Door Opener skips that entirely. A small Matter-certified controller that attaches to most existing openers in minutes, turning a door that used to require a physical remote into something that closes automatically the moment everyone's left, or sends a notification the instant it's left open by mistake. It joins the same connected system as everything else in the home. No separate app, no separate routine to remember. For anyone who's ever driven halfway to work wondering if the garage door actually closed, this answers that question permanently at $49. With the garage finally part of the system, the next question is what's protecting the door people actually walk through.
Most smart locks solve convenience while quietly creating a new problem: a proprietary app, a battery that dies without warning, or a system that only works with one specific ecosystem. The TCL D2 Pro was built to avoid all three. It uses palm vein recognition, a form of biometric identification more secure than a fingerprint and impossible to replicate with a photo or a mold, alongside a traditional keypad and physical key as backup. Because it's Matter certified, it doesn't lock a household into TCL's own app to function. It joins the same connected system as every other device on this list, meaning a single unified view of the home instead of a separate lock app buried somewhere on a phone. Setup replaces an existing deadbolt in under 20 minutes. No rewiring, no professional installation required. Combined with the garage door and the camera already covering the property, the front door becomes one more coordinated layer instead of an isolated decision point, unlocking automatically for the people who live there and staying locked for everyone else. At $129, it's a meaningfully more secure entry point that also finally behaves like it belongs to the same home as everything else. With the entry points finally covered, what's left to protect is the home itself, starting with the threats nobody sees coming.
Most smoke alarms are the loneliest device in the house, a single, isolated safety feature that beeps at 3 a.m. over a low battery and otherwise has no relationship with anything else in the home. The Sensereo MS-1 changes that by being Matter certified from the ground up, a smoke alarm that doesn't just alert the room it's in, but can trigger the entire connected system the moment it detects danger. Lights flashing, locks unlocking automatically for an easier exit, notifications reaching a phone regardless of which ecosystem it runs. Its photoelectric sensor is tuned for early, accurate detection of smoldering fires specifically, the kind that produce smoke long before flame, giving genuinely more warning time than a basic model. A dual battery design keeps its core safety function running independently of its smart features, so even a dead connection never compromises the one job that actually matters. It's easy to overlook a device built to be forgotten until the one moment it's needed most. At $49, it's inexpensive insurance that finally talks to the rest of the home instead of standing alone in it. Fire is the danger everyone thinks about. The one that quietly costs more over time is water.
Water damage rarely announces itself. It starts as a slow drip behind a wall or under a sink and goes unnoticed until the damage is expensive. The Aqara valve controller T1 retrofits onto an existing water valve, and paired with leak sensors at the usual failure points, a washing machine, a water heater, under a sink, it shuts the water off automatically the moment a leak is detected, not after someone notices a puddle. Because it's Matter certified, that shutoff triggers the same system as everything else: a notification, a light change, a coordinated response, instead of an isolated device doing its own thing in a cupboard. Bundled with 3 sensors for around $96, it's a small, unglamorous upgrade that quietly prevents one of the most expensive things that can happen to a home. With the home now protected from fire and water, the next layer is understanding what it's actually costing to run. Most people find out their energy bill went up without ever finding out why. No breakdown, no pattern, just a number that's higher than expected. The Emporia View 3 clips directly onto a home's electrical panel and tracks power use circuit by circuit, showing exactly which appliance is actually driving the bill, instead of leaving it a mystery. Because it's Matter compatible, that data doesn't sit locked in its own app. It becomes part of the same connected picture as every other device on this list, informing automations, instead of just displaying a number nobody checks. Installation takes about 20 minutes without an electrician for most panels. At $199, it turns an invisible monthly expense into something a home can actually see and respond to. With the home now aware of what it's spending, the next upgrade handles something it's been quietly ignoring the whole time. Floor care has always been the chore that never actually finishes. Clean today, undone by tomorrow, repeated indefinitely. The Dreame X60 Max Ultra is where that finally changes, not through another marginal improvement, but through a robot vacuum built to operate almost entirely without being asked. Dual self-cleaning mop pads scrub themselves clean between passes using hot water, so the machine never drags a dirty pad back across a floor it just cleaned. Its obstacle avoidance system uses AI-powered recognition to identify and steer around cables, shoes, and pet mess in real time, rather than blindly grinding into anything in its path. The base station empties itself, refills its own water tank, washes and dries its mop pads with heated air, and does it all automatically for up to 100 days before it needs a single moment of attention. Because it's Matter certified, its cleaning schedule doesn't exist in isolation either. It can respond to the rest of the home, starting automatically once everyone's left, or pausing the moment a door unlocks and someone walks back in. Suction reaches levels that used to require a corded upright, now delivered by something that navigates an entire home on its own and reports back only when something actually needs a decision. It's the kind of upgrade that doesn't just save time, it removes an entire category of chore from a person's mental list permanently. Starting at $1,699, it's the most significant single investment on this list, and also the one that makes the phrase, "the house cleans itself," something closer to literal than aspirational. Every upgrade so far has made one part of the home smarter on its own. The last piece is what makes all of them smarter together.
Every device on this list is built to speak Matter, but something still has to be fluent in all of them at once, translating between Thread, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, and every other protocol quietly running in the background of a modern home. That's what the Homey Pro actually is. It's a local, privacy-first hub that unifies Matter, Thread, Zigbee, and dozens of other protocols into one system, meaning the plug, the switch, the camera, the lock, the vacuum, and everything else on this list don't just individually support a shared standard. They operate as one coordinated home instead of separate apps competing for attention. Its automation engine builds genuinely complex routines based on time, presence, energy use, and the combined state of every connected device at once, processed locally rather than depending on a cloud server that might be slow or down or gone entirely if a company changes direction. There's no subscription required to unlock its core functionality, and no single point of failure that takes the whole home offline if one company's servers have a bad day. This is the piece that turns everything before it into an actual smart home, the version that was always the promise of this technology in the first place. Starting from $426, it's the device that makes the word "finally" in this video's title actually true.
None of these upgrades are impressive purely on their own. A plug, a switch, a lock, a vacuum. What makes this list different is that for the first time, none of them have to operate alone. A home that used to run on a dozen competing apps can finally run as one coordinated system, responding to the way people actually live in it instead of asking them to manage it. That's the real shift Matter represents. Not a single flashy gadget, but the quiet end of smart home fragmentation that's frustrated people for over a decade. Start wherever the friction is worst right now. The rest can follow, and it'll all speak the same language when it arrives. If this changed how you're thinking about your own home, subscribe, because Gizmo Wonderland exists to keep finding the technology that quietly makes everyday life better, one upgrade at a time. Links to every single product on this list are waiting for you in the description below.